welcome back. You probably know that practice makes perfect. So in this video, I have 10 practice questions very similar to what you will see in the SAT math exam. I want you to pause the video and try the questions on your own first, and then run the video for answers. So pause your video now and try this question that you see on the board. So how did you do with this question? The correct answer is D, 17. Let's go ahead and look at this first. So notice that the question is a little wordy. So what we want to do is read, stop reading, and collect all the information that we have. A certain type of account must be opened with an investment for a positive integer number of years. No other deposits or withdrawals are permitted, and the account earns 7% interest. So I have 7% interest right here, and I will immediately stop reading and write down the rate is 0.07. And that is compounded annually. So here's another piece of information I have. N is equal to what? If $400 were invested in an account for X years, so the principal amount is $400 and the time is X years, the question is, what is the smallest possible value of X such that at the end of X years, the amount in the account will be at least 3 times the initial investment. So we know that the amount at time T is $1,200. 3 times 400 is $1,200. Before I go ahead and attempt to solve this problem, I want to go back to my question and make sure that I have underlined other key points. So one of the things that I noticed here when I was reading was it says investment for a positive integer number of years. So no decimals in my answer. And the other thing that I read was the smallest possible value of X. So the yellow highlighter one is important. Okay, so recall that the equation you will need is amount at time T is equal to the principal amount multiplied by 1 plus the rate divided by N, which is the number of times the amount is accrued in a year, raised to the power nt. And we know n is 1. So substituting all our numbers in the equation and solving for x using natural logarithm. Here I divided by 400 to get 3. Then if I log both sides, I bring the x down. X is equal to natural log of 3 divided by log of 1.07, and I get 16.24. So after reading the question and organizing my given information, I went back to the question to reassess, and that's what I highlighted in yellow. It says positive integer number, so I can't have 16.24, and it's said that the possible value of x such that at the end of x years, the amount in the account would be at least 3 times. So we can have more than 3 times that much. So the integer number that I want, which is the smallest integer number, would be 17. I cannot have less than 1200, but I can have more. So that's why the answer is 17. Okay, here's another question. And again, I'd like you to pause the video and try this on your own. In figure 1, point P is the endpoint of vector OP, and point Q is the endpoint of vector OQ. When the vectors OP and OQ are added, what is the length of the resultant vector? So to add the vectors, you might remember this from the vector video. That's vector 3i plus 7j, and that's the vector OP, added to vector OQ, which is 4i minus 5j. And simply add this, and you get I plus 2j. So your resultant vector point is 1, 2. And this is the point 1, 2. Connect that from the origin all the way to that point, drop a perpendicular line, and then use Pythagoras to find the value of the resultant vector, which is what they're asking for, the length of the resultant vector. So that's my resultant vector. And it's simply Pythagoras theorem, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. You know 1 plus 4 is equal to c squared. 2 squared is 4. So c is going to be square root of 5. And if you plug that in your calculator, you will find that the square root of 5 is 2.236. And the correct answer is B. Okay, hope you got this one. Moving on to question 3. I shall see you back in about a minute. Take a minute to do this problem. The triangle whose vertices are 0, 6 root 3, root 35, 7, and 0, 3. So I have here the vertices. This is 0, 3, 0, 6 root 3, and root 35, 7, which is in between 6 root 3 and 7. So 6 root 3, checking in your calculator, will give you 10.39. So you know that 7 is in between here. All right, so the question is asking what is the area. You know that the area of a triangle is a half base times height, which is equal to a half, and the base is 6 root 3 minus 3. So it's 6 root 3 minus 3. And the height is root 35. So plug this in your calculator and figure out the answer. So I get 21.87 as my answer, and the correct answer is C right here. Try this problem on your own and then run the video for the answers. The radius of a right circular cone A is 1/5 of the radius of a right circular cone B, and the height of the right circular cone A is 1/4 of the height of the right circular cone B. What is the ratio of the volume of the right circular cone A to the volume of the right circular cone B? So we really need to know what the volume is. So first I'd like to draw the two pictures and understand what's going on. So if this is my right circular cone B, and if the radius is x, then the radius of A would be 1/5 of x. And if the height is h for B, then the height for A is 1/4 of h. And knowing that the volume is 1/3 of pi r squared h, let's go ahead and write down the volume of B and A. So the volume of B will be 1/3 pi x squared h, and the volume of A would be 1/3 1/5 x squared 1/4 h. So simplifying this, we will have 1/5 squared is 25. So 25 times 4 times 3 is 1/300 x squared h. And I'm missing a pi here somewhere, so I will insert a pi here and a pi here. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So the ratio of A to B would be 1 over 300 pi x squared h. So let's go ahead and do it this way because everything will cancel. Pi x squared h, and they cancel, and the ratio would be 1 over 100. You simply multiply this by 3 and multiply this by 3 and you get 1 over 100. And the answer is E. Okay, you can either pause the video and think about this problem, or you can move on to the next problem and then pause the video and try this on your own. Go ahead and read this question. The greatest possible distance between any 2 points on the surface of a right circular cylinder is square root of 193, and the area of the circular base of the right circular cylinder is 36 pi. So we have these two pieces of information. So if you draw your right circular base, sketch it out, the greatest distance is from this edge all the way to that edge, and that distance is square root of 193. The area of the circular base is 36 pi, which is also equal to pi r squared. So you can calculate the radius, which is 6. So if the radius is 6, then the diameter, which is basically one of the lengths of this right triangle here, is 12. And this is a right triangle. So by Pythagoras theorem, you can figure out the height of the cylinder simply by squaring root 193 minus 144. You get 49, square root that, and you get 7. And the question is, what is the volume? And remember, the volume is given by the base area times the height. That's the formula for the volume of any shape. So the base area was given as 36 pi. And you just calculated the height. And the final answer is 252 pi. It's A. Okay, moving on. Again, pause the video and try this on your own. Let's go ahead and read this in figure 2. The length xy is 48. See, it'll let me write 48 right here. What is the length of yz? Let's go ahead and figure out these two angles. So you know that 2a plus a plus 156 is equal to 180. 3a is equal to 24, and a should be equal to 8. So you have this angle right here, and you also have this angle right here. Okay, you can use your sine rule to figure out the missing side, which is yz. So the length of yz divided by sine 56 is equal to 48 divided by sine 8. So solving for segment YZ, all you have to do is multiply by sine 156 and not 56 as I said before. Sine 156 times 48 divided by sine 8 and you get 140.3 and your final answer is E. Next question, which is actually question 7. Again, pause your video and try this on your own and then run the video. So let's read this question. In figure 3, STUV is a parallelogram with a perimeter of 14. What is the y-coordinate of point T? So we know that this point here is 3, and we know that this point here is 7. So we already know this side is 4 and this side is 4. And if the perimeter is 14, then we can figure out the other two sides. You can do a really quick math here. You can say 8 plus twice, let's call it the width, is equal to 14. So you have your width as equal to 3. So this side is 3 and this side is 3. Now if you dropped a perpendicular line down here, you can use your sine rule again to figure out the height of this side here. So let's go ahead and do this. So sine 39 is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse, which is 3. So the opposite side, let's call it the opposite side, the blue line here, is equal to 3 sine 39. And if you plug that in your calculator, you should get 1.89. You were asked for the y-coordinate of this point here. So if this is 1.89, you will have to add another 2. And your final answer should be 3.89. And that is choice D. Moving on. Again, pause your video and try this problem. The mean of a finite set S of numbers is 14. So your mean is 14. And the median is 12. So the middle number median is 12. And the standard deviation is 1.8. Then you get a new set T is formed, and each of the numbers is multiplied by 3. Each of the numbers from set S is multiplied by 3 to create a new set. Which of the following statements must be true of set T? Well, if the numbers are multiplied by 3, then the mean has to be also multiplied by 3. So 14 times 3 is indeed 42. So this one is correct. The median will be multiplied by 3. So 12 times 3 is 36. So this is correct. And the standard deviation, 1.8, must be multiplied by 3. And that is also correct. So your final answer is E. Next question coming up. Series and sequences. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, for this one, let's go ahead and read the question and interpret that. The terms of a sequence is defined by the nth term as 3 times the term before minus the term before this one, n minus 1, for n greater than 2. What is the value of the fifth term if the first term is 4 and the second term is 3? So the first term is 4. And the second term is 3. And the third term is equal to 3 times the second term, which is 3, minus the first term. 3 minus 2 is 1, which is the first term. And the answer is 9 minus 4, and it's 5. Now what's the fourth term? That would be 3 times 4 minus 1 is 3, which is 5, third term, minus 4 minus 2, which is the second term, which is 3. And that is 15 minus 3. And the final answer is 12. So the fourth term is 12. Let's figure out the fifth term. The fifth term is 3 times n minus 1, which is the fourth term, which is 12, minus n minus 2, which is the third term, so minus 5. And it's 36 minus 5. Final answer is 31. And the fifth term is 31. And the answer is D. All right, this is the last question. Again, pause the video and try it on your own, and we'll go over it in a minute. Okay, I'll give you the answer for this one first. The answer is B. And this is simple algebra. The question is, if 4 over y plus 4 is equal to 20 over y plus 20, then what is the value of 4 over y plus 4? Let's go ahead and algebraically figure out what y is. So I'm going to multiply every single term here by y to remove my fraction. So that turns out to be 4 plus 4y is equal to 20 plus 20y. So minus 20 from both sides, I get negative 16y is equal to positive 16, and y is equal to negative 1. The question is, what is 4 over negative 1 plus 4? So 4 over negative 1 plus 4 is equal to 0. And that's how we get B. All right, great. Thank you very much for doing these 10 questions. I'll see you again in my next video. Goodbye for now.